and that it wasn't supporting that it wasn't supporting insolvent institutions. Now, what would you do differently in a new crisis, given the framework now in place in the U.S.?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question. I mean, the Fed, when you look at what the Fed is, the Fed really is I always describe it as a facilitating entity. The Fed really it controls the interbank payment system, okay? So the Fed exists really to help banks clear payments across one another. And when we look at what the Fed does, the Fed really comes in times of really on a daily basis, and in particular in times of crisis, and acts as a lender of last resort. It provides liquidity and acts as a clearinghouse when banks won't clear for one another on their own. And so I think that, when we work from that framework, the Fed actually operated in a somewhat normal way. The interesting thing was that the Fed, in a lot of ways, went out beyond its regular operations and went into, really backstopping in a lot of ways the entire economy to some degree. They were buying, a lot of assets that were intended to directly impact institutions that they otherwise shouldn't really have been backstopping. I mean, the backstops for, Morgan Stanley and Goldman and, ultimately Bear Stearns, and these were all entities. These were not banks. They don't use the interbank market. And so it's weird to some degree that we allowed the Federal Reserve to go out and backstop these entities. And I think that, the big concern was that there was some contagion potential back in 2008, 2009 from letting these institutions fail.
What you doing?
And I'm still skeptical of the idea that allowing all of these entities to sort of go through a more market-based bankruptcy process would have been as catastrophic as a lot of people believe. I think that the government could have been.
That was Cullen, Roche, founder of the financial blog Pragmatic Capitalism. Time now for today's Big Deal.